The Brooklyn Nets may have had their worst loss of the season as they blew a huge lead in Los Angeles and they fell to the Clippers 125 to 114 on Sunday. New York Post Nets beat writer Brian Lewis, he was at the game and he joins us now from Crypto.com Arena. Brian, how are you doing? Hopefully better than the Nets.
I'm doing good. I always enjoy LA, one of my favorite cities.
I'm sure, especially at this time of year where it's frigid and freezing in New York, and you got to enjoy some SoCal weather. That's never bad at all there, Brian. But, Brian, let's start talking about the Nets, and let's not sugarcoat this. The Nets, they imploded on Sunday as they blew a double-digit lead with just over 5 minutes left. And the Clippers, get this, people, they scored the final 22 points of the game. Got to ask you this, Brian. Was this the worst Nets loss of the season?
Oh, I think so. I'm not sure that it's even close. And they've had some bad losses, so you have a lot to pick from, but I don't think it's even close. This wasn't just a horrible loss. I mean, that kind of collapse is historic. 22 straight points to end the game. I think that's only happened once in the entire NBA in the last decade for a team to close on a 22-0 run. So, yeah, I'd say this is a top of the heap or bottom of the barrel, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, it's all perspective on that. Top of the heap in terms of losses or bottom of the barrel. All depends on how you want to look at it. Now, team governor Joe Tsai, he was in attendance for this game out in L.A., and his team has now lost 15 of their last 20 games. Could changes be coming from Tsai and his general manager Sean Marks or head coach Jacques Vaughn on the hot seat?
Well, I understand why you'd ask the question. It's impossible to look at Sean hiring a fourth coach and think that that's standard or normal. But I haven't seen any indication that Sean Marks is on the hot seat or that he's getting fired. So I have to presume that he will be back and that he'll finish out the year and that he'll be in charge of this rebuild or retooling. There are some things that I've seen from Jacques that would concern me. When I look at this run, as an example, you were talking about the 22-0 run. When you're asking players about it, they say, well, they started switching and it slowed us down, which is true. Anytime you start switching, it does kind of lead to elephant hunting and teams get bogged down. But when Mikal Bridges is saying, yeah, they started switching and reading everything and we got confused and we didn't know what to do. See, that's intolerable halfway through the year, because anybody that's followed this team can tell you they go small. They've been going small for years. They switched almost exclusively last season. And 2 years ago, they did a lot of reading themselves in terms of its defensive scheme. So these are not things that should be unfamiliar to the Nets halfway through the season. Those are the kind of things that would concern me. More than a single timeout here or there, that's minutia. My point is the players understanding what they're supposed to be doing and when they're supposed to be doing it. When that's lacking, that's concerning. But if you're asking me, do I think we're going to wake up tomorrow and Jacques Vaughn will be out of a job? No. Do I think he'll be out of a job this week? No. I expect that he'll be here, and I certainly expect that Sean Marks will be here for the immediate future.
Understood on the expectation. That comment there by Mikal Bridges, as you just mentioned, I understand why that could be alarming there. And I think the question on a lot of minds of Nets fans, is, will there be accountability at some point with the slide that the team has been going through? But I think it's interesting to see how this all plays out as they move forward into the season. Now, Brian, the team, they're going to return home and they'll host their crosstown rival, the New York Knicks, on Tuesday. Right now, especially with the comments you just told me from Mikal Bridges, does this team feel like a squad that can bounce back on Tuesday? Or do you get the sense that this Nets group just isn't together right now?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that there was a lack of hustle tonight. I don't think that they didn't play hard. I mean, they were up 18 in the fourth quarter. Their problem has simply been blowing leads. Now, in some cases, Miami and Portland, those are allowing 8-2 runs over the last minute and a half. This was a little bit more seismic. 41-15 in the fourth quarter, 22-0 to end the game. But I do think it wouldn't shock me if they have a lead, reasonably late in the game against the Knicks. What they have to do is figure out how to have the fortitude to hold on to those things and to play the way that they're supposed to play. Example, you can't all of a sudden go off on your shot profile and take shots you're not supposed to be taking. You can't all of a sudden gamble on defense. You have to play the same way. You have to play the right way in the way that your teammates would expect you to be playing. You can't all of a sudden change your DNA with 2 minutes to go in the game or 3 minutes to go in the game. Therein lies the problem. So I don't think they've let go of the rope. It's not like they rolled over and quit and they aren't playing for Jacques. They are. Their problem is when it starts to get to sweaty palm time and the game gets tight or it's late, that's when they have a tendency not to do the right things, to do their own thing. And that's the problem.
We'll see if the Nets can adjust, bounce back, see if they can change some of that late game execution. As Brian just said, when the palms get sweaty, can they execute there? That will be the question for this team going forward. That is Brian Lewis, New York Post Nets beat writer. He will be making the trip. You're getting out of the nice weather, Brian. You're coming back to these frigid temperatures here in New York. I'm sure you're happy to come home, but I know you also wish that it was a little warmer. Safe travels, my friend.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.